What is going on and how are y'all doing out there? It's your Uncle Steve. It is a Friday and it is Falcon Friday as we are almost 48 hours away. Matter of fact, 48 hours and about 15 minutes away from the kickoff of the 2021 season for the Atlanta Falcons. I am super hyped. Thank y'all for joining me today. It is Friday. We usually are going to do our picks on Friday, talking about what the mess these Falcons are going to do this year. One way or the other, it ought to be exciting. New team, new coach, new GM. There's just something that's building. Everything got kicked off last night with the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Was anybody shocked at the ending of that particular game? Controversial offensive pass interference not called. Captain America ends up on top again. Nothing that's going to surprise us at this point, but it's just a good thing to get this thing started. And I'm sure tonight a lot of people are going to be at the rally. They're going to have the rally down there for the Falcons. I wish I could make it tonight. Unfortunately, work calls, but I will absolutely be there on Sunday. Be looking out for me to try to do some updates or something of that extent on Sunday for the game. But it ought to be pretty good experience just to get out and do some things. But listen, had a pretty decent game yesterday. And for Falcon fans, who cares? I mean, these are two teams. Tampa Bay, not only are they our NFC South rivals, but then on top of that, of course, Tom Brady is over there now. So there's no love lost with that situation. But then all of a sudden, just to add more fuel to the fire, we get this yesterday. And I don't even know where to start. I'm like, dude, JD, what are you doing? That is our welcome to Atlanta guy, our hometown allegedly hero, Jermaine Dupri, sitting there in Tampa Bay, rocking the Tampa Bay jersey. Now, I know business is business. I know So Duff is doing some things down there with one of the guys in the picture and stuff like that. And I realize that sometimes you end up doing things from a business standpoint. But dude, JD, you are so Atlanta. You are so ingrained in what that would be like Ludacris going out there rocking something else. I don't know. How do y'all feel about it? I know business is business. I'm trying to keep that separated. But boy, when I saw that, the first thing I just said, boy, it said they ain't loyal, and y'all Philly and the rest. I just can't tell us. It's a bad photo op for me, man. These cats, they will sell out to the lowest common denominator. So does JD make the list now, y'all? Does JD join T.I.? Does he join Luda, as Lisa is saying in her thing, in her post? How you doing, Lisa? Just what do we do about these folks, man? What do we do? It is just crazy, man. And speaking of which, listen, I'm on StreamYard, y'all. Do me a favor. If you get a chance, please, it doesn't cost you a cent. Register your name, because I'm going to go by the StreamYard thing so I can read your comments coming down the line just to see. Because if it comes up and says Facebook user, I'm just going to keep going because I can't go back to my Facebook screen on here. So if you want me to respond, I'm going to read every comment, but at the same time, if I don't say your name, please don't get offended. All I see is a Facebook user. So I'm gonna go down the line over here. Lisa says, I'm over these ATL celebs repping their teams. Luda, JD, T.I., Jeezy can have several seats. And you know, the one thing I have to remember, it is business. They have to do what they have to do. But from a fan standpoint, yeah, it does get to a point where you're like, yeah, then y'all just do y'all thing. Stop trying to pretend like, you know, y'all 100% down with the Falcons. Then you turn around and put on the Super Bowl champs stuff on here. User says he probably tired of like everyone else is a loser. Even if you are, I mean, you still see hardcore fans, celebrities of other teams that continue to rock with their team, even if you're tired of losing. I'm tired of losing. I mean, who thinks that losing is supposed to be fun? I mean, that's the dumb thing about that. Nobody here is saying that losing is fun, and you should be tired of losing. Of course, you're gonna be tired of losing. That's ridiculous. You're tired of losing. I mean, it is what it is. That comes with the territory. I'm gonna come right here because I think I can come back a couple of times. Yeah, that's Orion. I see you, Orion. Yeah, I mean, but dude, so what if you're tired of losing? If you're a fan, you're a fan. You rock it. RJ, what is going on, my friend? Good to see you coming into the house today on a Friday. We are going to pick games today. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through the NFL and make our picks on a Friday like we're normally going to do during the season. That's the plan. All Fridays will be Friday pick'ems on our Falcon Fridays this year. That's how we're going to do that. Lisa says, after the Super Bowl, Luda posted a pic with Brady on his IG with a caption says, all we do is win. Who we do? Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. So Luda gets the same amount of disdain that JD gets. I hear you. I hear you. Orion Kazak said, we do nothing. Lisa, celebs hop on whatever team is hot. Jeezy repped New Orleans in full Aints gear. How you going to talk about putting on for your city when you're repping for your rivals? Probably because the check is big. That's all I can think of. Orion says, I bet all the ATL celebrities have lost a lot of money betting on our Falcons. They probably have. They probably have. If they were like me, they probably have, no doubt. And that, again, it depends on your perspective. You can continue to rock with your team, even though you're not winning. If you're not winning, dude, think about Cleveland. I see celebrities rocking the Cleveland gear. Cleveland hasn't won in years. Detroit hadn't won in years. Chargers never won anything. I mean, I hear you, but at the same time, pick a side, stick to a side. Don't just do the side just to get the money, in my opinion. But again, that's me not getting the check. If the check is big enough, sometimes it has a tendency to change your way of thinking when you start talking about revenue. Somebody put $100,000 in your bank account and say, I need you to rock this Saints gear. I don't know if that's enough for me to rock the Saints gear, but I'm not going to lie to you and say $100,000, no strings attached. It would not make me think. So, but somebody like JD came up with the song, the Welcome to Atlanta and all of that. Come on, man. You can't seriously think about repping the division team. I mean, to Lisa's point, you might as well go ahead and put on the New Orleans stuff for all that. I mean, you can't do that. That's not me. That's at least not how I rock. So we'll try to figure that out later on. That's how we do it. Lisa said, looking crispy in that white jersey, Steve. Hey, I told Lisa I have a Matt White and a Ridley White and I was trying to get my hands on a Grady White, and it's my fault because I probably should have got all that stuff in the summer, like I did with my AJ Terrell and my Foye Aluakon and stuff like that, and I got all of those in black. But since we're rocking the white this Sunday, I was trying my best to get a white jersey to go out there with, but unfortunately, this is this is what we're gonna rock today. This is our quarterback, Matt Ryan. Hopefully, he can have a good game. And listen, this is a huge game for him as well. Don't think for 1 minute that Matt Ryan doesn't realize what's at stake in this game, not just for the team, but for him personally. And 4,000 yards aside, he wants to win. That's the one thing I do believe when the man says he's trying to win. He wants to win. So, you knock that out. What's going on, Coach? How you doing? Say, shh. He said, 100 stacks, sign me up. Listen, I get it. I'm not naive. Sometimes we'll say what we won't do until you see who's giving the check. If that check have just enough zeros, you'll do whatever. So I got you. Orion says, I even rock other teams' gear if their color matches my shoes. Doesn't mean I rock with the team. Yeah, I hear you, but I think everybody doesn't go like that. But hey, to each his own, brother. You do what you got to do to fashion up. What's going on, Damien? Says, Rise Up Friday. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Lisa is playing fantasy football for the first time. Matt is my quarterback. Let's see how many points he gets me. I think conventional wisdom will say he should get you a solid. I'm not sure if he's going to be 4 touchdowns like Brady was last week or 400 yards like that Prescott did. I actually think Philadelphia's defense is better than either of the defenses that you put out there yesterday. When I start thinking about Tampa Bay has a lot of names on the defensive squad, even though they lost 2 of their cornerbacks, which is not wishing hurt on folks, but could bode well for us next week because Ridley and Gage and the rest of the guys will be going up against backup cornerbacks. That could be something to look out for next week against Tampa Bay. Lamar says, hope the line holds up. I think that's the biggest key. We talked about it this past Sunday when I was talking to you all. It's all about the offensive and defensive lines. The trenches are going to determine how this game goes on both sides. Whether we can get a pass rush or contain Jalen Hurts, or whether we can keep Matt upright, and more importantly, the Matt upright thing is super important. We've got to establish a run game. One of the things that I did like about Tampa Bay in their game plan yesterday, that even though they weren't getting 20-yard gashes and 15-yard gashes, man, when you start combining 4-yard runs, 3-yard runs, 4-yard runs, that opens up the field so much. There was a lot of guys dropping passes yesterday for Tom Brady. A couple of those throws were a little bit high, but there were also some passes that were not being brought in. So, yeah, we have to show some type of fortitude on the offensive line, whether it means for pass blocking or to make some holes for our running backs. In the running back situation, oh my goodness, we really are going to be challenged as far as that's concerned. So let's hope we can get that together. So we got NFL picks for week 1. For the record, I usually don't pick the Thursday games as well. If I would have picked the Thursday game, quite honestly, I would have gone Tampa Bay in that game. As much as I know Tampa Bay is our rival and stuff, that Dallas Heat goes back further for me. That Dallas Heat goes back to the late 70s and early 80s. And those of you who've been around the Falcon franchise know what I'm talking about. So we're going to go right down the list and say the Falcons and Eagles game for last. Let's start with the Buffalo Bills against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Buffalo coming off an AFC Championship appearance last year. Probably the only team last year that probably threatened the Kansas City Chiefs' domination of the AFC. I don't see anything that has changed as far as how Buffalo is looking this year. Josh Allen continues to grow in the NFL and continues his march to be one of the elite quarterbacks. Well, you know what makes you elite? When you can lead that team to a championship. I think Josh Allen is right on the outside looking in. Ben Roethlisberger comes back in 2021, takes a significant pay cut so they can pay TJ Watt all that money. Jeez, did you see how much TJ Watt got yesterday? But Pittsburgh is going to be Pittsburgh. Normally consistent. They had the big 11-game winning streak last year, but we saw that was a facade going into the end of the year. I'm really, if it's a team that I'm looking that might be on the outside looking in as far as playoff teams last year, Pittsburgh is a candidate. I think with Big Ben in there slinging, you're going to always have a puncher's chance. But in my opinion, I think Buffalo is going to come out on top on this one. Scores, you don't have to take for whatever. I just throw a score up there. I'm looking at Buffalo 34, Steelers 28. I see RJ coming in and saying the Steelers. Dave says Buffalo. What's going on, Dave? David says Buffalo 27, Pittsburgh 21. What's going on, Jory? How you doing, sir? Yeah, I'm glad you finally caught me. Just to let y'all know, I am on not only the absolute best Atlanta group in Facebook, which is the Atlanta Bird Gang. I'm also on YouTube on Uncle Steve's Lounge. Please make sure you subscribe if you get a chance to, so you can see this and other content we put out. And also, if you see me on my personal page, how you doing, friends? Good to see y'all on a Football Friday. David says, and the reports were Watt's agent wanted more. Yeah, listen. Yeah, no, he got paid. Highest paid defensive player of all time. That's pretty good. What's going on? What's going on, Daniels? How you doing? Daniel was watching us on Uncle Steve's Lounge right now. He said, I have us winning 31-17. We will get to Atlanta Eagles in 1 second, folks. But I appreciate y'all. Keep giving your picks there. Octavius says Falcons 28, Eagles 17. We are going to get to that in 1 second. I'm going to roll down here real quick through the other NFL games. Second game on tap is Cincinnati versus the Vikings. I know conventional wisdom would have the Minnesota Vikings coming out on top. Minnesota with Kirk Cousins, who is nearing the end of his little 3-year contract with the Minnesota Vikings. Dalvin Cook, who showed signs that he was ready to be the workhorse for the Minnesota Vikings. A defense that's not as great as they were a couple of years ago, but still good enough to get the job done. And you still have the two exciting receivers in Jefferson and Thielen for Kirk Cousins to throw the ball to. Cincinnati is going to be an interesting team this year. Not only you get the return of Joe Burrow, who showed signs last year that he is somebody, kind of reminds me a little bit of how Josh Allen started off. I think he's going to be one of those cats that once the year starts and progresses, I think he's going to get better as the year goes on. You can't forget about Mixon back there in the backfield, and also the receivers for Cincinnati. Being at home, to me, gives Cincinnati a slight edge. I'm going to take the Bengals over the Vikings 27-24. What's up, brother Winston? How you doing, man? Say the Bills, he'll take that game 33-24, and also he'll take the Vikings over the 28-24 over the Bengals. So a slight bit of difference in opinion, which is fine by me, my brother. So we'll see how that turns out. David says, reverse your scores. Jamar Chase dropping passes and not getting separation according to reports concern me. Only thing I say about that, and I know I saw the little piece yesterday when Jamar Chase was talking about not seeing the white and blah, 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 blah. And listen, these guys, and he'll learn later on that some things you probably just don't need to say. You might not need to say anything about not being able to see anything. Just say, hey, you know what? I'm coming along. It's going to come to me. He'll learn later on how this media thing works. I saw everybody spray painting that on post yesterday and acting like the guys are scrub. Jamar Chase is going to be fine, and Cincinnati's going to be fine. My pick is for them to win tomorrow in Cincinnati. Next game is going to be the 49ers against the Lions. The 49ers, to me, are going to be that team that I think not only will bounce back, but they have a puncher's chance to win that NFC West. Sometimes think about the people that were hurt last year at one time or another, starting with Jimmy G, Nick Bosa, and I'm trying to think of the receiver's name that quick. Deebo Samuels, George Kittle was hurt during the time. They had quite a few of their teams and still managed a 6-10 season, I think it was last year, in a very tough NFC West. I think they are going to be ready to go. Of course, you know, the storyline going into the season was Trey Lance, who was picked 3rd overall. Would he unseat Jimmy Garoppolo, who is only a year or so away from his Super Bowl appearance? Would he unseat the incumbent at quarterback? Well, right now it seems like they're going to give the reins to Jimmy G, but you can tell that I think if Jimmy G struggles, it's not going to be difficult for them to go over there and make that call. The Lions are going to be entertaining just because of their head coach, Dan Campbell, who I remember when he was in New Orleans, and he just kind of one of those soundboard guys that I think likes to hear himself talk. There is nothing right now that makes me think Detroit is going to win more than 4 games this year. I root for DeAndre Swift, obviously coming from Athens, to come off an injury and do a little better job this year and do some great things for Detroit. But Jared Goff cast off into Detroit as well after being traded from the LA Rams. There is nothing right now in Detroit that seems redeemable. I'm not looking at the 49ers. I'm sorry. I'm not looking at the Lions being a threat. I look at the 49ers to roll in this game 34-20. Daniel talking about Jamar Chase staying politically correct with the media. And that's the thing. You have to make sure you know what you're saying when you say that. 49ers is going to be a problem. That's Lamar. Daniel says he has the 49ers winning 28-6, which is basically around. The only reason I just hold off from making shutout scores and single-digit scores is at the beginning of the year, I think everyone is feeling everyone out. I don't think there is going to be a defense that's just going to shut anybody down like that. And I think in even all of my picks, there was only one team that I'm predicting that's going to have a single digit, and that'll come up in a few minutes. David said, and I can see them winning the NFC and being in SoFi for the Super Bowl, talking about the 49ers. Also saying Lamar saying Trey Lance is going to be a problem. Say Wink Dog, what's going on, man? Say the Falcons will be tough. They was in every game last year and played Kansas City and Tampa Bay better than anyone. I hope they do. I really do. Lamar says Detroit is where careers go to die. I wish I could defend them, but you're probably right. And Daniel says, Steve's, I'm just surprised we haven't given Kerryon Johnson a shot. That's interesting too. Kerryon Johnson came with a little bit of hype coming out off of Auburn and helped Auburn that year. Georgia went to the national championship game. Kerryon has some good stuff in his college career. Obviously has not been able to put it together in the NFL. I don't know. It would be nice to give him a shot. But whenever I hear when I see people who get cut so quick, man, I'm just a little hesitant about why did that team cut him? They could have used a running back. It's got to be something behind the scenes that we don't know. Winston might have a point. Kerryon can't stay healthy. I know that's probably one of the reasons why they went and got Swift as well, but Swift went on and got hurt. Daniel says he reminded me of Le'Veon Bell, his running style. Yeah. If he was that talented, don't get me wrong, he was a beast in college, but if he was that talented, he would be on somebody's roster, somebody like Baltimore, and we'll get to them in a quick second. The Titans against the Arizona Cardinals. Folks, I know we have gone over the Julio Jones thing over and over and over again, and I'm not here to reignite that talk. However, I am here to say Julio Jones is going to bring an element to the Tennessee Titans that is going to elevate that team. Tennessee is probably one of the two teams that I think can challenge Kansas City for that AFC championship this year. Julio and A.J. Brown on the same squad with Derrick Henry back there in the backfield, folks. It could get kind of interesting in Nashville this year. Arizona just is snake bit because they're in a division with the Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers. I think if Arizona was in the NFC South, they would automatically be picked either second. NFC East, they would probably win that automatically. I just think this is one, a tough matchup, and two, might be a tough year for the Cardinals. I like Kyler Murray. If Kyler Murray goes down, the Cardinals are done. But they are a good team. They're just not going to be good tomorrow. I look at the Titans to roll tomorrow. 40-17 as far as I'm concerned. Winston says Miles Sanders is the closest to Le'Veon Bell. Miles Sanders is actually pretty good. Don't want to see him do anything tomorrow. Sunday. Daniel says we are one injury away from having only one running back on the active roster. That's why I mentioned it. You know what, Daniel? We could be Baltimore. So, and I said, I'll get to that in a second. Winston says Titans 30, 28. He says it's going to be a lot closer than I'm predicting. Wingdall says Pitts will draw doubles. Ridley will draw doubles. Our backs will eat this year. I hope they do, brother. I hope they do. David, I'm not going to give Arizona a little more. I'm going to give Arizona a little more credit than that. Titans should win, but I got it 35-28. Winston says Tennessee defense has been in decline for the last 3 years. But yeah, you know, with a little bit more offensive power, Winston, they might be able to stay off the field a little bit and rest some. I don't think they're the monster defense that they were the year they went to the AFC Championship, but I do think they're still formidable enough to hold a couple of people back. Lamar says Arizona has a nice wide receiver group. The Titans D is still suspect. I got the Cardinals scoring 38. Okay, I see. I hear y'all talking. We'll match it up again next week. That's why they call them prediction, folks, so we can see who came the closest to what we predicting here. Next game on tap: Seattle Seahawks against the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis Colts, who Mr. Miyagi must have went in there and did his thing to Carson Wentz, because all of a sudden, after thinking he could be out almost for the season, Carson Wentz looks like he's ready once he gets off the COVID stuff. Looks like he's ready to start the season. So what does he do in a Frank Reich offense? I don't know. Definitely has a couple of guys back there, Hines, who can do some things, and T.Y. Hilton. But I think he's hurt, if I'm not mistaken. and somebody double check that on me. He might be hurt tomorrow, but either way it goes, I don't think it makes a difference. Seattle brings back most of the folks. I know Russell Wilson started a lot of junk this summer with the Seattle Brass saying, I need y'all to block me because y'all killing me right now. Seems like that might have worked. He's back. He has DK Metcalf. He still has Lockett out there. His running game is kind of in the same boat as the Falcons, if you ask me. The guys that's supposed to be there and supposed to lend a big part to that running game have not produced over the last couple of years. I still say Seattle has enough firepower. Their defense is nowhere near where they used to be. But if Russell Wilson is quarterback of the team, I'm going to give them more than a puncher's shot. I look at Seattle to win that game 30-20. Daniel goes back to the Titans game. He says 35-24 Titans. Winston says, I see a slight regression in Tannehill. He didn't show out until Smith started calling the plays. Same as Henry. Let's hope that transfers to us, folks. Lamar says, Colts didn't score 14 points. No T.Y. Hilton, and I thought he was hurt. Thank you for the update, buddy. I appreciate that. David says, you beat me to the COVID protocol. It's just coming off the top of my head. If y'all say it, please remind me. You're absolutely right. Winston says, Wentz is playing week 1. Wright was his quarterback coach his rookie year. Wink Dog says, Seahawks 28, Colts 21. Lamar T.Y. had surgery and is on the ER. Winston says, I see the same as you up. Seattle 30-20 over Indianapolis. Indianapolis is one of those teams I'm just like, yeah, I can get behind y'all, but it's going to take a little bit more for me to totally have faith and totally buy in to what we got going on. LA Chargers against the Washington football team. Listen, this Washington football team is so intriguing. And Tyler Heineke almost beat Tom Brady last year. Matter of fact, Tom Brady, the biggest challenge they got in the playoffs last year was from the Washington football team. Now, does this say Washington is a juggernaut? No. Their defense, their front seven is second to none, led by that brother Chase Young on that line, and don't sleep on Sweat. And they are armed and ready on defense. Here's my problem. Ryan Fitzpatrick, who has shown flashes for 2 or 3 games. He does it wherever he goes. And then reality kicks in halfway. Washington is betting on him to lead this team to greener pastures. Now, in the NFC East, it may be just enough. From what I'm looking at, Dallas's defense, to me, as much as you're listening to some of those guys on TV talking about they look better, they look pretty bad to me. They were flying around as I thought Dan Quinn would have them flying around, but they still look kind of suspect. But the Washington offense, my brother Gibson, I like him at running back, and I love McLaurin at wide receiver. But the wild card is Fitzpatrick, man. If you told me any other quarterback, matter of fact, this offseason, and not to deter from my boy, number 2, my boy, Matt Ryan, my boy, but it was a team that I thought would have made a shot for that. He would have been a perfect fit on that team because all they need is a quarterback. They get a quarterback on that team, a legit quarterback. Washington is nice. But right now, I just can't trust them. LA Chargers, Justin Herbert, do I have that much more faith in him? Not really. But I do like the weapons that they have on offense a little bit better. Eckler, though I know he was shaken up a little bit in practice the other day. They still have a pretty good wide receiver group with my brother Keenan Allen doing his thing out there. And can Derwin James stay healthy? When Derwin James is healthy, look out. But between him and Bosa, that defense should still be pretty good. Right now, I like the Chargers by a hair. Boy, if Washington had any kind of quarterback, I would be looking at them as really good. David says, there's my upset special. I got Washington 24-20. And David, and I think the upset part to me, this one wouldn't shock me if Washington won. I'm just saying Fitzpatrick is one of those guys that will flash for a couple of games, and this could be one of them, but then he's going to break your heart sometime in the middle of the season. Somewhere along the line, he's going to break. He does it every time. It's consistent. It's consistent. Lamar says Fitz Magic. I was trying to avoid the Fitz Magic thing. 31-23. But I hear you. But again, Lamar, it happens all the time. We see Fitz Magic. I'm sorry, Magic. I'm talking about mattress. Fitz mattress. Fitz Magic will trend on ESPN, and it'll be the top story for 2 weeks, and then he goes right back to earth in the next 3 games, and then they're talking about bringing somebody off on the bench. I'm just not feeling it, man. Winston's kind of like me. He sees that field goal deficit. Chargers 24-21. I say Herbert is nice. That's why they sent Tyrod Taylor to Houston. Derwin and Bosa's back, but Ingram is going. Yeah, I forgot about Melvin Ingram. He's out of there too. I forgot about that. Daniel says the journeyman magic. Exactly. And again, he's that backup quarterback that's on the sidelines that the fans root for. So when your starter is struggling, see, he couldn't be in Atlanta. If he came to Atlanta, it would be drama. Because if Matt struggled at all, they'd be some parts of some factions of the fans would actually believe Patrick could do better than that, which is ridiculous. As far as Vegas is concerned, Chargers are a 4-point favorite. That's about right. That's about right for this game when you think about it. Our NFC South folks, the Carolina Panthers are going against the New York Jets, where Sam Darnold gets an opportunity right off the rip to beat down his old team, and I think it's going to happen to epic proportions. The Jets right now, they are left in a huge mess. I'm not sure if people even want to go play for the Jets. Robert Saleh has got a lot of work to do. I wish him well. But right now, Zach Wilson is probably their shining hope. And I know a lot of people are high on him. I'm not a huge fan, but I'm not one of those that says he can't do it. Bottom line is, I mean, New York, they'll take anything right now. Those guys are pretty desperate for anybody to come in and change the narrative. Carolina Panthers, McCaffrey, he comes back. One of the reasons why Mike Davis is probably here now, I guess they felt strong enough to think that he's going to be back in full strength. And I hope he's back because he's on 2 of my fantasy teams. But I just think this has all the makings of revenge and domination for the Carolina Panthers. I think they're going to roll in this game, and 35-10 is what I think that's going to turn out to be. Winston says Fitzpatrick like old man shop. I'll say it's Panthers 30, Jets 18. Lamar says Panthers win 17-6. I think it's going to be a little higher scoring than that as far as the points, but you're saying more than 10 points, so you're kind of in the same ballpark where you're thinking that's my thought from that standpoint. And one of the games of next to the Atlanta-Philadelphia game, talking about teams last year that really struggled, They did the same thing in the AFC. Look like they got the two top struggling teams to go against each other. The Jaguars and the Texans. Texans just named Tyrod Taylor as their starter this week. No big surprise with the cloud going over Deshaun Watson. And I'm not even sure if Deshaun Watson is even going to be on their team in the next couple of weeks. I would be shocked if he makes it through the season as a Houston Texan. That's a lot of baggage to take with you. Not only that huge contract, but just not knowing what's going to happen with him right now. I just think the Texans would be better off trying to get rid of him and saying, you know what, y'all fans, y'all can dog us out for getting rid of him, but the longer he stays here, it's just going to be that negativity and everything like that from a standpoint of the ownership is concerned. Let the man get a fresh start somewhere else and start over. As far as the Jaguars are concerned, Trevor Lawrence, who showed flashes in preseason, but again, I was against second stringers and things of that nature when he played against, and I think that was that Cleveland, and he came, was it Cleveland? I got who it was he played against, and he did not play very well against the first teamers when he did play that game. He's going to struggle, folks, but I think he's going to be okay. Look for him to probably break out next year or whatever, but I think the Jaguars right now just have just barely enough to beat the Texans. The Texans are not a threat anywhere to me. Look at that game as a relatively even score game. I'm not saying even, kind of like mid-level. Not going to be a low-scoring game. 21-14, that's me. I think Jaguars are easily touchdown over those folks there. Winston says Panthers had a decent offense this year and up-and-coming defense. Yeah, they had two guys at the wide receiver, man. Don't sleep on DJ Moore, and Robbie Anderson just signed a little extension himself. Robbie was no joke at the Jets either, just couldn't get anybody consistently throwing the ball. Winston says Jags 28-14, Lawrence 260, 2 TDs, 1 interception. That's about right. That's about right. Lamar says game of the week. I got you. That makes sense though. And look, a lot of people will say that's us. So, be careful. They say that's the Falcons Eagles. To one of the marquee games of the week, the AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs against the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns are full of talent. They have a very talented team. I would argue that they probably have more names on that team for Cleveland than anybody sans the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And of course, we know why everybody went to Tampa. From a Cleveland standpoint, it's a prove me year. They got to the division playoffs last year, could not overcome Kansas City. I don't think they're far away from Kansas City, but not sure if they're there yet. I'm still thinking they need one more year. Baker Mayfield, what have you done for me lately? Now is your time to do your thing. But Kansas City starting off the year, brother, I'm just thinking Mahomes is on a mission. I think he has a bad taste in his mouth after that Super Bowl. I think he was embarrassed. And I think he hadn't had that feeling in the last year and a half before that beatdown that they got in Tampa at the Super Bowl last year. Mahomes is on a mission. I think he'll start off fast this year. Look for Tyreek to get off real quick and look for Kansas City to win that game by 10. Very high scoring game, I think. Kansas City 38, Browns 28. Winston says Browns 30-28. They lost last year by 1 score, and that was without the rebuilt secondary. I did forget they did make some moves in the secondary in Cleveland. I just still think coming off this year, I think Mahomes and company are going to be on a mission this year, and I don't think Cleveland is going to stand in their way. David says he has a little bit closer, 30-27, still high scoring. I can understand that. I think Cleveland is not going to have quit in them. I think you might even see a similar game to what we saw yesterday with Dallas and Tampa Bay. I know I said 38-28, 10-point game, but I think this is one of those that Kansas City is very similar to yesterday. They'll run out, jump real quick, and then later on, Cleveland will grind their way back into the game. I still think Kansas City probably will have them at least by 10 points, in my opinion. That's what I'm looking at. The New England Patriots against the Miami Dolphins, and I'm going to take my little segue here for a minute. If you all get a chance to go check out hometown hero Cam Newton and his father, Cecil, on Cam's YouTube thing, the Funky Friday. They did it today. It's a very interesting video where he addresses the situation in New England. And the one thing I do admire about Cam, and I, as a player on the field, I still think there are things about him from an attitude standpoint that I'm still never going to fall in love with. But I give him credit that he was very candid on this video. If you all get a chance to check it out and see it, where him and his very outspoken father, which if you're a father of a player or anybody, if you're a father, period, of course, you're going to back your son. So, that's the LeVar Ball syndrome. I mean, what are you going to do? Dog your son out and tell him how horrible he is? Of course not. You're going to back him up. Good talk. And he just spoke a lot about the New England situation, misconceptions about whether he was cut for vaccination. He tends to believe it was something that had to do with health in that arena. But just check that out if you all get a chance to. Back to the game, the New England Patriots. Matt Jones is back. Not back. He's there. He took the job, the number one slot this year. Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels, those folks are on a mission, man. That was embarrassing to them to not make the playoffs last year. I know Cam being cut, it's going to kind of look like the scapegoat. It is what it is. A lot of folks came back to New England this year, and they made some very good investments, over $100 million in free agent signings this year for the New England Patriots. I look for them to bounce back in a big way. I'm not sure if they're ready to overtake Buffalo at this point, but I do believe they are ready to beat the Dolphins. The Dolphins, the Tua thing is interesting, especially the mere fact that they haven't really 100% wrapped their arms around Tua yet. I think a lot of people may have felt like they jumped the gun on that pick. I'm willing to give Tua at least one more year to see what happens. But it is very interesting that you kept hearing the Deshaun Watson rumors, and Miami Dolphins didn't go out of their way to dispel them and 100% commit to Tua. Now, I know Flores did come out last week and finally kind of gave a little bit of co-signing to Tua for the quarterback job. But, yeah, I think there might be some things going on in Miami that could be troublesome. I look at New England to take full advantage of that this year. New England very big over the Dolphins. 41-21. That's my pick. Winston says he likes the Dolphins 21-17. We'll see how that ends up turning out. Lamar says Matt Jones looks hella out of shape. I'm kidding. Jamarcus Russell vibes at any rate. Pats win 28-17. I think I saw the picture that you were talking about. They did show a little picture of Matt Jones. He got a little bit of what was my boy from Chicago, Cutler. He got a little Cutler body going on as well. So I see where you could get that from. Winston says if Tua doesn't show up this year, they drafted the quarterback or trading for Watson. Yeah, that's why I say the Watson thing is not completely over with. I don't think that's going to be just because right now he's not starting or not on the team. Don't think that still couldn't go down. Tua struggles for a game or two. You might hear more about that particular move. The next game on deck is the Green Bay Packers against the New Orleans Saints. The Green Bay Packers, of course, who went through all of the drama last year with this summer with Aaron Rodgers. Is he gonna stay? Is he gonna go? I mean, what's going on? Is he gonna go host Jeopardy? Is Jordan Love gonna start? Well, after all the dust is settled and the smoke is cleared out and all of that, Aaron Rodgers is ready to roll. And Aaron Rodgers still has Aaron Jones. And Aaron Rodgers still has Devontae Adams. And he has Randall Cobb. And look, Green Bay in that NFC North is still going to be formidable as far as I'm concerned. I think they are still going to be the team to beat. Coming out of the North, I don't think Minnesota, Chicago, or Detroit will be ready for them this year. I look for Green Bay to do big things this year. As far as those folks down there in Breezeville, where Drew Brees, for the first time, will not open a game in at least a decade and a half, which is, for Atlanta fans, should be celebration time, because he has owned us. He truly owned us like no other quarterback has owned us, probably since the 70s, when the Rams used to toil with us and Joe Montana used to mess with us in the 80s. But now let's see this new regime. Jameis Winston, he gets the keys. Jameis Winston, big arm. Jameis Winston, all the intangibles you need and all the measurables that you have as a quarterback. His biggest thing right now, can he not turn the ball over? He looked really good in preseason. Let's see what happens when they start this thing up. I don't look at it being that close. I got the Packers winning 117 to -2 as far as the game is concerned. Winston says the only team with the stockpile of picks to make the trade and not be hurt, and he's talking about Minnesota. Winston also says Green Bay 34-21. I don't think we will. I think the same way. I don't think the Saints have a chance in this game. I think they might be able to be relevant as far as scoring again, but I think their defense takes a step back. They don't have a secondary. And Marcus Lattimore can't take everybody. Lamar says Saints break the brown paper sacks back out. Packers win 42-13. I look at it being a big loss for them. Huge losses for the Saints this year. All right, and Broncos Giants, another game that's probably not going to be one that you want to look at. The Broncos, Drew Lock looks like he's going to be the guy up there. Daniel Jones still doing his thing in New York. The heir apparent to Eli, is he going to be able to take New York to anywhere higher this year? I don't think he will. This is one of those games that I look at and just say, this is scouting for us, for the New York Giants, to see what they turn out this year. Saquon Barkley, that's the question mark. Saquon Barkley can stay healthy. The Giants could possibly be 500, but that's a big deal. Saquon cannot stay healthy, man. So I look at this game as being very low scoring. Broncos 14, Giants 10. Winston goes on and says Broncos 24-17. I just not a big believer in the Giants. I'm just not. The Sunday night game will be the Rams against the Bears. The Bears, of course, deciding to go with Andy Dalton to start the year. I think that would be a huge mistake. I think you will see Justin Fields in there by week 3. But if he's not going to be in there this week, boy, that Rams defense is going to eat. And with Matthew Stafford now at the reins, Matthew Stafford still got that big arm, and he has Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods and Higbee to throw to. I think the Rams will roll in this game. I'm not sure about the Chicago Bears, folks. I think you can look at the preseason all you want to. I don't think they're going to be that good this year. Love Allen Robinson, but I think all you're going to be able to get out of them is 7 points. I look for the Rams to win big, 24-7. And then the Monday night game this year, it's so funny how Sunday night has overshadowed Monday night. But the Monday night this year, the Raiders going against the Baltimore Ravens. This particular score definitely has changed in the last 24 hours as the very snake-bit Baltimore Ravens, folks. I mean, that's how do you lose your starting running back to free agency in Ingram? Then they lost J.K. Dobbins a couple of weeks ago. Then you lose Gus Edwards in practice. I mean, that's just, you almost feel bad for them, but injuries are going to happen. So they're going to happen to us too, folks. Somebody's going to be gone that we don't want to be gone this year. I'm not saying any names because I don't want to put that on anybody, but it's just bad that it just tore up their running game. I know I saw Devonta was getting a tryout out there, and Le'Veon Bell will probably be elevated. Don't be surprised if he's in the starting backfield. But that's their game. That run game has to be on for Lamar Jackson to be successful. If they don't have a run game, Baltimore could be in for a very interesting season. That's why I say on this particular day, with that game kicking off the Raiders Stadium out there in Nevada, I look at the Raiders to sneak by the Baltimore Ravens 24-21. Not necessarily saying the Raiders are that much better, but I do say that's going to be an interesting thing. Rams, Winston says Rams 28-10, Dalton out after week 3. Those are their toughest defenses week 1, 2, 3. And then the Raiders 27-14 as far as that's concerned. Well, this is what we all came back to. The game this week, this Sunday, is going to be the Atlanta Falcons versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Not a whole lot given out from either one of these teams. You're talking about new coaches on both sides. But let's break it down anyway. When you start talking about on the offensive side of the ball, you got to give the edge to Atlanta, if not for anything, for number 2. Number 2 has been there for the last decade plus. He has been extremely consistent, still at 60+% completions, has his arm strength taken a hit a little bit, yes, but he's still by far the superior quarterback, whoever is taking snaps over in Philadelphia. And I think from a standpoint of skill players, I do like the wide receiver core a little bit for Atlanta over what they have in Philly. Of course, we're going to see the debut of the Heisman Trophy winner, Smith, over there, and the guy, Rager, who came out of nowhere to become Philly's top receiver last year. Look for the Atlanta offense to put up some points in this game. As far as defense is concerned, there's no contest. Philly is definitely their strongest point. They are definitely a much more superior team on defense. That's the one thing I am afraid of when it comes to what Arthur Smith is going to do to slow down Fletcher Cox and those other guys on the defensive line. That's imperative. You've got to be able to slow those guys down. If you don't, it could be a long day. I have a feeling they're going to have a game plan in store to slow those guys down. Special teams is kind of a push. Younghoe Koo, definitely a big part of our special teams and kicking game. The one thing I didn't see a lot of good special teams tackling on a couple of the returns this year. And it was the same thing last year. I know everybody says special teams that want to go straight to the Dallas game, but we have to tackle folks on the punt returns and kickoff returns, giving up way too much yardage. If anybody's running past the 30-yard line on a punt or return, that's not what you need to do. So I don't look at just how you recover an onside kick. I'm looking at how you cover on your punt return and your kick coverage. I do like the things our punter has been doing, putting people in and doing what they do. So overall, I'm looking at Sunday's game, and by no means is it going to be easy. First game of the year, Arthur Smith debuting, Matt Ryan redemption year. All of that being said, I do believe that we will sneak this one out. Philadelphia has not defeated us at home in quite a while. We can say the same for us up in Philly. That home field advantage always bode well for us. I look for that trend to continue. I think it's going to be close. I know it's going to be high scoring. So I look at the Atlanta Falcons winning that game 33-30. And we'll have to wait to see how that ends up turning out. Winston says he likes the Falcons 30-17. He has a little bit more faith in the defense. Winston says a lot of Mayfield and Hennessy double teams on Cox. And Lamar says, I can't wait until Atlanta has a respectable defense. Let's hope that Dean Pease's plan works. Now, this week again, it's not like you're playing the likes of Brady or anybody this week. You're playing Jalen Hurts, and who was great in a Oklahoma uniform. But let's see how that works out for him in the pros. Right now, I think they will still have enough to put up some points, but I look for Atlanta to sneak this one out. Maybe a last-second field goal, or maybe defense holding them down on the last drive not to score. Big-time win for the Atlanta Falcons for the season, in my opinion. Now, that's all I got for y'all, folks. This is when the Friday NFL picks. We'll do this every Friday here in the Atlanta Bird Gang, also on YouTube on Uncle Steve's Lounge. Please make sure you check us out on Sunday. We will try to have some stuff for you live, pregame, before the game. Please check us out. We'll be on the air. And then at Sunday at 7 o'clock, we'll go over the Falcons games. We'll go over some of the 1 o'clock games and talk about it with your uncle here on the channel. Until then, take care. Have a great Friday. Falcon Friday. Rise up. Dirty Birds. If anybody can figure out that Dirty Bird thing, I haven't been able to. It always goes to the parts and talk about your connection is not there. I need to figure that out so I can get my little picture up there with the Dirty Bird thing. That's bothering me. Anyway, take care, y'all. We'll see y'all on Sunday. Rise up. Go Falcons.